This is Darrell presenting Apple's Develop in Swift Data Collections curriculum, Unit 2, Lesson 2, Extensions. Extensions let us add methods and computed properties to types, even types that we don't have the source for, such as types provided by Apple. The syntax is to use the extension keyword and then put in the type that already exists, and then you have braces, and then you put your new functionality inside those braces. One thing you can do with an extension is to add computed properties. For example, here we're creating a static computed property as an extension of the UI color type. And the new computed property is called random, and it is of type UI color, and it returns a random color with a random red, green, and blue values. While you can add a computed property in an extension, you cannot add a regular property in an extension. If you were able to add a regular property, then that would change the amount of memory that that type would consume. So for example, if you added a new property to a 32-bit integer, then suddenly the integer would require more than 4 bytes of memory, and that would mess a bunch of things up. So you can add computed properties, but you cannot add regular properties. You can also add instance or type methods. For example, you could add a method to the string type to return a pluralized version. Apple would become apples, song would become songs, and so on. Our additional property could even be mutating. So for example, we could have a mutating function pluralize, which is an extension to string, where we would take in a string and then we could just pluralize it, so apple would become apples. One other technique that you can use extensions for is for organizing code. Here we have a class restaurant which has a bunch of properties, and then we put some methods in an extension, and those methods can be related. For example, we can have the add method and the remove method in the same extension. We could even put those extensions in a separate text file, which would decrease the size of our text files and keep related functionality together. It's not shown here, but you could use an extension to conform to a protocol. So we could have restaurant conform to custom string convertible and declare that in the extension, and then the methods that are required, methods and computed properties that would be required for that, could be in that extension. Because you can declare extensions on types that you don't own, and that in fact were even built in with the Swift language, you could have types that already exist and you could make them conform to new protocols that you create, or existing protocols that are already created that they do not currently conform to. If you are following the Apple curriculum, you can open up the Extensions Playground and complete the exercises in the lab. This slide deck was produced by Apple and is licensed by Apple under the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 International License.